We all have implicit biases. It is a fact of life. But the good news is we can reduce our biases or manage our biases. Now, these are different mechanisms. In terms of reducing our implicit biases, what we're trying to do is weaken the connection between a group and a stereotype. We want to thwart the activation of the stereotypes, reduce the frequency with which they pop into our head. Now, we're never going to reduce our biases to zero, so it's a good thing we can manage them. And what this means is we're trying to thwart the application of the stereotypes onto our behavior. So starting with reducing our biases, and let me start by saying it's not easy and it's not quick. Our implicit biases are resilient. It took us a lifetime to develop some of those associations and stereotypes. There's no quick, there's no easy way to reduce our biases. It takes time and it takes persistence. Now, there are a number of empirically documented bias reduction mechanisms, but the one I want to share has the most empirical documentation, and it's going to be intuitive to you. The contact theory says an individual's biases can be reduced through positive contact with members of other groups, right? The more we have positive contact with people who are homeless, drug addicts, people of different religions, and so forth, that can reduce our biases. It can reduce actually both implicit and explicit biases. So reflect for a moment. Think about a group with which you could, maybe you should, have positive contact to reduce your biases. Maybe that's people of a different religion, drug addicts, liberals, conservatives. Positive contact with individuals from those groups can reduce your biases. Now, the good news about the contact theory is it works both ways. As police officers, you go out, you have positive contact with groups who are different from you. That can reduce your biases. But the good news is, presumably, those people are also having positive contact with you. And maybe we can reduce their biases about police. All right, very hard to reduce your biases. We're never going to be 100% successful, but you can manage your biases. That means you recognize your implicit biases and override them so they don't impact on your behavior. Now, there are three elements of managing our biases. If we are aware of our implicit biases and we are motivated, we can choose to implement bias-free behavior, or what the social scientists call controlled responses. Let's start with each of these. If we are aware of our implicit biases, well, we learned that implicit biases can manifest outside of our conscious awareness. But once I learned about implicit biases, I started to recognize the number of times each day that I drew conclusions about people or situations based on my automatic responses. So I wish this for you. I hope that now you know about implicit biases. You can start to recognize when these thoughts pop into your head. And indeed, all the science that you are learning about implicit biases is intended to raise your awareness so you can start to think about when biases might manifest in you. So if we are aware of our implicit biases and we are motivated, well, we learned that biases manifest in people who reject bias and prejudice at the conscious level. We learned that biases impact even well-intentioned individuals. If that's you, you've achieved bullet number 2. You are motivated. So if we recognize our implicit biases and we are motivated, we can choose to implement bias-free behavior. It's really as simple as that. And here's a litmus test so that you can ask yourself, you can test yourself in situations. Would I be treating this person this way, but for the fact that he or she is, and you fill in the blank?